Most Simpsons villains don't last. They show up, cause chaos, deliver one big joke, and then vanish like Frank Grimes over here.
What's this? Extremely high.
But the Simpsons broke that rule when they created the maniac with fuzzy hair, Sideshow Bob. So today, let's analyze the twisted mind of Robert Underdunk Bob Terwilliger Jr. and figure out how the Simpsons wrote the perfect villain, starting out with his very first villainous scheme, all the way back in the episode Krusty Gets Busted.
Oh boy, leave it to the theater kid to be super dramatic. Gah.
So the episode kicks off with a unique glimpse into the kind of brain rot almost every kid in Springfield enjoys watching in their spare time, a megalomaniacal clown who absolutely adores attention.
Hey kids, who do you love? How much do you love me?
With all our hearts!
What would you do if I went off the air?
We kill ourselves!
Yeah, season 1 had a lot of dark jokes sprinkled on in there. And accompanying him, a shirtless dude with an afro and kazoo who was unfortunate enough to be there. A sidekick who's always doomed to be the victim of Krusty the Clown's brand of crude slapstick humor.
Don't blame me. I didn't do it.
Just another day on the job for Sideshow Bob. However, things take a dark turn pretty quickly when Homer buys some ice cream on his way home. The same day the Quickie Mart gets robbed by none other than Krusty the Clown himself.
Hey, pal.
Judging by his reaction, this wasn't Homer's first rodeo with a robber in the Quickie Mart. With the Pooh store robbed yet again, the cops take their sweet time to show up and actually get Homer to draw them a decent sketch as soon as he stepped out of the chips. Despite having the memory and intellect of a goldfish, Homer actually managed to recognize the robber to be his son's idol.
Huh? Hey, what's going on here?
Krusty the Clown, you're under arrest for armed robbery. You have the right to remain silent.
This was back when Springfield PD was actually borderline competent under Wiggum. Brought to stand in a lineup consisting of 4 other funny-looking sad clowns, Krusty gets singled out by Homer and is officially declared a criminal.
Well, if the crime is making me laugh, they're all guilty.
No, which one is the robber?
Proud of potentially shattering his son's dreams because something interesting finally happened in his life, Homer rushed home to turn on the news and basically ruined Bart's night.
Wait a minute. Bart, you know that guy in your lunchbox?
Oh, you mean Krusty the Clown?
He's sort of a hero of yours, isn't he?
Are you kidding? He's my idol. I've based my whole life on Krusty's teachings.
So, maybe you better run off to bed.
Krusty the Clown is behind bars tonight after a daring twilight robbery of a local Quickie Mart.
Krusty! Oh, no.
Instead of strangling Bart literally, Homer wound up doing something far worse, gifting him a core traumatic memory. Now that the entire town was talking about it, the next steps for Krusty were the ones outside the courtroom of Springfield City Hall. But before Krusty enjoys his time in the jury's limelight, we catch a quick glimpse of what Sideshow Bob and Krusty's relationship was really like behind the scenes.
Where his show had been condemned by parents and educators alike as simple-minded TV mayhem.
Now that's quality children's entertainment at its finest. Back into a legal corner, Homer did what any responsible parent would do: shatter his son's dreams. With the kids left distressed and the entire town in an uproar, ready to burn the mere effigy of a once beloved children's television icon, a new hero emerged from the shadows. A sophisticated Harvard graduate who brought the class in a Class A misdemeanor. But beneath that performance is a man driven by envy, resentment, and a desperate need for recognition.
For years I have been silent, save for the crude glissandos of this primitive wind instrument. But now destiny has thrust me into the center ring.
If you ask me, I kinda liked him better with a kazoo glued to his mouth. Determined to raise the standard of children's entertainment for all the kids in Springfield, Sideshow Bob accidentally inspired Bart to start an investigation of his own with Lisa's help. Together, they returned to the scene of the crime to uncover some rather crucial evidence that turned the case upside down.
Wait a minute. Krusty can't read. Okay. So the poor guy can't read. Can't we get off his back already?
No, don't you get it, Bart? How could Krusty have been reading a magazine if he can't read?
Hey, this is not a lending library. If you're not going to buy that thing, put it down or I'll blow your heads off.
The old voice actor for Apu really outdid himself with that one. The lucrative brand deals came pouring in soon after Krusty's arrest, and Bob's motives began to seem a bit more dastardly than what he initially painted them out to be.
See your face on keychains.
And water action pen.
And snow domes.
This is all very exciting, but I think we do well to explore the more upscale market. For instance, Sideshow Bob limited edition prints, collector's plates, commemorative coins.
Was Bob really thinking about the kids when he decided to frame his lifelong colleague? Now armed with the truth, Bart and Lisa visit the station to get some answers from Krusty's one and only right-hand man, only to be shunned and forced to watch him fill the shoes of their vindicated idol. Sensing Bart's suspicion, Sideshow Bob decided to gaslight the poor boy, only to regret his actions soon after.
We can shed some light on your problem in a new segment exploring pre-adolescent turmoil. I call it Choices.
I don't think so, sir.
Bart, I'm reaching out to you.
Funny how Bart didn't get to choose not to be part of a segment called Choices. Everything was going great for Bob, his plan was perfect, but Krusty knew Bob's biggest flaw was his ability to yap, which explains why he kept the kazoo on him at all times, and that's why he was barred from ever uttering a word on live television. Bob's own words gave the whole scheme away, but he desperately needed to have a voice after being forcefully silenced for all these years.
Fill, big shoes to fill, big shoes to fill. In ancient Greece, there was a school of thought called Stoicism.
Wait a minute. You did it.
Excuse me?
Attention, fellow children. Krusty didn't rob that store. Sideshow Bob framed him, and I got proof.
You lousy, stupid, clumsy.
And there goes his chance of earning a living wage on Wiki Feet while he's stuck in prison. In the end, Bob stuck to his faulty motive, claiming he wanted nothing more than to show the people that the kids deserved a better role model. But the truth was, for years, he was nothing more than a lackey who wasted his life for another clown's success. He wanted to expose Krusty for the years of abuse, but could do nothing but frame his former partner. The episode ends with him and his big feet rightfully being carted off to prison, and Krusty's finally allowed to pollute young minds once again.
Krusty! I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for these meddling kids.
Take him away, boys.
Treat kids as equals! They're people too! They're smarter than you think! They were smart enough to get me!
There's nothing quite as satisfying as ending a mystery on that classic Scooby-Doo callback. But things didn't end there. Since Bob was still seething with hatred after a nosy little boy bested him on live television, Bart exposing Bob didn't just ruin his plan. It shattered the public identity he built for himself after years of suffering under Krusty's thumb. And although Sideshow Bob was initially just looking out for himself and supposedly the kids, we'll see how he abandoned this message the next time he shows up in Bart's life in the episode Black Widower. While Bob was once a somewhat honorable man for most, the truth is he was the same scum he tried so desperately to expose. A white-collar criminal who is yet to show how low he can truly go. Nothing quite as soothing as a car ride with a crazed lunatic. Taking things up a notch from before, we find out that over the past few years, Sideshow Bob formed a budding relationship with one of Springfield's most affluent chronic smokers, Selma Bolivier.
Everyone, I'd like you to meet.
Real mystery is how he managed to fit an afro inside that hat. But as if on cue, Bart sensed something was off and kept on his toes. Sitting at the same dinner table with the kid who got him locked up all those years ago, Homer started acting out his invasive thoughts.
Gee, if some snot-nosed little kid sent me to prison, the first thing out, I'd find out where he lives and tear him a new belly button. Lousy snitch. Yeah!
Marge lets Homer get away with far too much, man. Funnily enough, Bob had other reasons for being there. First, he talked about how prison had truly sent him spiraling down a hole he couldn't crawl out of on his own.
Case, my desire to do high-quality children's programming. When prison put an end to that dream, I became a seething cauldron of rage and recrimination.
He built up some sympathy for himself and then let slip how his animosity with Krusty never truly healed over the years, as the prison system slowly kept chipping away at Bob's sanity.
This is one more Emmy than you'll ever win, you bantering jack-in-the-box.
Just don't drop that thing in the shower, Bob.
No talent, shill.
Second banana.
Panderer.
Bore.
Stop it. I can. Release me.
At the time, Bob admitted he had also developed a brand new obsession, a habit of thinking about Bart almost every single day. At the time, even Bob wasn't aware of what truly fueled his resentment towards the kid.
My only joy came with plotting a horrible revenge against the boy who put me there.
That longing for the boy eventually manifested into a blossoming, loving relationship with Springfield's most eligible bachelorette, Bart's aunt, Selma. Or so it seemed.
But Kismet can be kind as well as cruel. I received an answer to my letter from the prison pen pal program.
Dear number 24601, I need a man, and I cannot find one among the law-abiding. I have a steady job and a lucrative hobby filing nuisance lawsuits.
In front of the Simpsons family, Bob painted out the narrative that he had finally reformed his ill ways, an elaborate setup for the scheme he was cooking up in his head.
Inspired by the love of a good woman, I resolved to be the best darn inmate number 24601 I could be.
In a shocking twist, he did the unthinkable.
Elma, would you mind if I did something bold and shocking in front of your family?
All right, but no tongues.
Although kissing you would be like kissing some divine ashtray. That's not what I had in mind. Selma, will you marry me?
Bob somehow dodged a curveball only to have it whipped back on himself by choice. What makes Sideshow Bob so dastardly early on isn't the fact that he's willing to go to any lengths to exact his revenge, it's his ability to play the role of an upstanding citizen. Like a true villain, Bob enjoys the thrill of fooling others and lulling them into a false sense of security.
Can you ever forgive me for framing you and putting you in jail?
Hey, if they ever open the books on this telethon, I'm right back in there.
That Sideshow Bob is a no-good showbiz phony.
Come on, Bart. If Krusty can find it in his heart to forgive him, surely you can too.
Oh, Krusty, I can't tell you how much I missed this.
Or in certain cases, a false sense of superiority, too. And while everyone else falls for it, Bart's the only person who's willing to go the extra mile and question his every move.
Death do you part?
I do.
During their honeymoon, Bob started behaving rather suspiciously on the home video Selma had sent her sister. His mask of a loving and doting husband was slowly beginning to erode. What he was truly after was Selma's money all along.
Scourge of Prometheus, toaster of marshmallows, eradicator of dead wood. Oh, Selma, dear, you and your little camera.
And maybe a separate room with just him in that fireplace. Like a hound dog, Bart was immediately alerted to what was truly about to happen.
On MacGyver, 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 MacGyver.
Aunt Selma has 1 hour to live.
The kid can't even do simple addition, but deductive reasoning is apparently his strong suit. Okay. Now aware of how the villain actually thinks, Bart was on his way to forming a lifelong enemy by foiling another one of Bob's elaborate schemes. In fact, Bob couldn't help but be curious and even excited about how Bart managed to do it again.
Bart, I must know. How did you untangle my web?
Yeah, Bart, fill us in.
Well, I'd hate to tell the #1 cop in town how to do his job.
No, please. It's the only way I'll learn.
All right. Sideshow Bob seemed so desperate to get that fireplace. But why? Then it hit me. The gas.
Again, what is in Springfield's tap water? How's a third grader making the cops' jobs easy for them? This is when Bob realized what truly fueled his fascination with Bart. As someone who saw himself as a genius who could fool everyone, Bart was the one person who never bought the act and questioned his every move. For Bob's peace of mind, that person had to go, no matter what.
Be back. You can't keep the Democrats out of the White House forever. And when they get in, I'm back on the streets with all my criminal buddies.
Thanks, Obama. Bob's real target was now clear as day to him. This is where he stops being a disgraced sidekick and truly becomes Bart's shadow. He's fully accepted his identity as a criminal. He's now a villain with a personal reason to hate The Simpsons, and the boy represents everything he cannot control. That's why the episode Cape Fear starts off with a death threat mailed directly to Bart.
You got a letter too, Bart?
I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, who cares about penmanship when you're too busy bleeding out? Clearly trying to get under the kid's skin, Bob ruthlessly mentally tortures Bart and leaves him feeling anxious as a way to kickstart his revenge plot.
Oh my God! Someone's trying to kill me! Oh, wait, it's for Bart.
Things slowly begin to ramp up as Bob puts his Yale-educated background to good use by psychologically weakening a kid.
All right, this is dedicated to Bart Simpson with a message, I am coming to kill you slowly and painfully.
At least the tunes matched the vibe. This chaos and nervousness was exactly what Bob wanted all along. He wanted Bart to anticipate his own impending doom in order to further sweeten the moment he finally gets to deliver the killing blow. Bart's death is the only way he can truly reclaim any control over his life now. heaven forbid he turned sane enough to purchase a pen. At this point, Bob's even willing to lie through his teeth during his own parole meeting despite the overwhelming evidence telling him that he's fallen off the deep end. And funnily enough, everybody's ready to believe him.
Doesn't it say die, Bart, die?
No, that's German for the Bart. The.
Apparently knowing German is quite the party trick. Practically ready to risk his new life as a free man, Bob's got nothing better to do with his life than to correct the one wrong that he can't get out of his head. He's now hunting his prey, trailing its every move.
Bob! You wrote me those letters.
You awful man! Stay away from my son!
Oh, I'll stay away from your son, all right. Stay away forever. No! Wait a minute. That's no good. Oh.
Oh, Bob, if only you knew you'd be seeing him almost every 2 seasons. If the justice system completely failed the Simpsons family, the only option they have left is to apply for the FBI's witness relocation program in order to keep Bart safe.
New identities.
Ooh, I want to be John Elway.
But unfortunately for them, Sideshow Bob hitches a ride and finds the perfect setup to finally enact his evil plots.
Lousy speed bumps.
And like every Sideshow Bob plan, he chose the most painful method to get the job done. Despite knowing it would get him in trouble, Bob even continues to be open about stalking Bart and directly confronts the boy without worrying about him running away. It's as if he's confident about his every move.
Down here, Bart.
Oh! What do you want?
Yet despite that confidence, this bum is still hitching rides on other people's fuel. Later on, we see why his confidence is warranted, since he's been meticulously planning every single step of the way in his spare time. He's gone completely mad.
3. Surprise boy in bed. And, disembowel him. No, I don't like that bowel in there. Gut him. Ah, le mot juste.
Even a jobless felon can afford a motel and a pen. What's your excuse? Now he's ready to hurt other people if it means he gets a chance at getting close enough to Bart. No amount of reasoning could ever convince him out of doing the unthinkable.
Mom! Dad!
Your family can't help you now.
Oh no, Dad's been drugged.
No, he hasn't.
But no matter how ruthless and cunning Bob truly is, he's still incompetent enough to fall for Bart's attempts at stroking his ego.
Nah.
No, go on.
Well, you have such a beautiful voice.
Guilty as charged.
Uh-huh. Anyway, I was wondering if you could sing the entire score of the HMS Pinafore.
Very well, Bart. I shall send you to heaven before I send you to hell.
The self-obsessed maniac literally sang for a whole 15 miles just because he received a compliment. This shows us just how narcissistic Bob truly is and how eager he is to prove himself as an intellectual despite trying to commit some of the most uncivilized crimes according to society. And yet, ironically, the most unruly little boy winds up besting him every single time simply using his own wits and nothing else.
I knew I had to buy some time, so I asked him to sing the score from the HMS Pinafore.
Ooh, a plan fiendishly clever in its intricacies.
Take him away, boys.
Hey, I'm the chief here. Bake him away, toys.
What'd you say, Chief?
Do what the kid says.
Is Bart secretly a fan of the opera? Respect. Anyway, you know what makes Sideshow Bob so special? It's the fact that the Simpsons writing team managed to keep the tone light despite the dark subject matter, and somehow made Bob likable since he usually winds up getting what he deserves for his actions throughout the episodes he's featured in. That's partially what keeps him so interesting to watch and makes him such a memorable character. So after seeing how massively successful they were with this portrayal of the character, the writing team decided to double down on Bob's need for theatrics in the episode Sideshow Bob Roberts. This time with a desire to influence the masses yet again, Bob is back with a plan. Instead of wasting his time with chasing after an unstoppable child who's clearly smarter than him even though he refuses to acknowledge it, Bob decides it's high time he starts influencing the people he's already good at duping.
Hello, Birch. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Kudos for bringing the public back to the Republican Party. It's high time people realized we conservatives aren't all Johnny hate-mongers and Charlie Bible thumps or even, God forbid, George Bushes.
That sounds like Sideshow Bob.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't know what Lisa's worried about. He's as red-blooded American as it gets. The play first begins with a plea to the talk show host to rally a mob in his favor just because their political views align.
I've had it. I am going to make it my mission to see that our friend Bob is set free.
No!
Well,
Despite Bart's objections, the people of South Africa can now vote in free democratic elections.
Bart got canceled after that. Nah, just kidding. It was a simpler time back then. Eventually, this plea takes shape into a protest, and Bob is deemed a political prisoner.
To order of the Mayor of Springfield, you are hereby granted a full and complete pardon. Congratulations, Robert Onderdonk Terwilliger.
After testing the waters and seeing how the entire town was willing to eat out of the palm of his hands despite his attempted murder charge, Bob decided to kick things up a notch. Recommended as a candidate for the Republican Party, he was made to run against Mayor Quimby, as if it was all going according to plan. That is until Bart and Lisa decide to rain on his campaign.
That was a big mistake, Bart. No children have ever meddled with the Republican Party and lived to tell about it.
I've never seen a grown man be so uncomfortable around kids, but I'm also kind of thankful for it considering it's Quimby. Seeing Bart as a simple stepping stool rather than a full-blown enemy, Bob showed off how he's far more complex now than what he's given credit for. Despite his seemingly crazy actions in the past, he can still focus on larger goals instead of fulfilling his desire for petty revenge or preserving his now shattered public image.
Quimby supports revolving door prisons. Mayor Quimby even released Sideshow Bob, a man twice convicted of attempted murder. Can you trust a man like Mayor Quimby? Vote Sideshow Bob for mayor.
But that character growth came at a cost, since Bob was still doing the same thing that always led to his plans getting ruined, underestimating Bart Simpson. Before things inevitably go up in flames for him, Bob managed to get elected mayor fair and square. Or so it seemed.
Are in for Sideshow Bob 100%, for Joe Quimby 1%. And we remind you there is a 1% margin of error.
At least we know who Homer and Krusty voted for. Now that he finally got his way, Mayor Bob's first order of business is to resume his primary goal of making Bart's life a living hell. Picking a fight despite him knowing better is precisely what makes Bob such a good comedic foil to the Simpsons family.
So sorry, Mr. Simpson. Your house is blocking construction of our new Matlock Expressway. Now, I am a fair man. You will have 72 hours to vacate. At that time, we will blow up your house and any remaining Simpsons.
Once Lisa starts investigating the ballots, a secret letter leads her and Bart to a busy parking lot where they find Mr. Smithers. On a rare occasion where he actually decides to go behind Mr. Burns' back, Smither leads the kids down the right track. A deep dive into the voters' names leads to the Simpsons siblings finally uncovering the truth, but they weren't going to be the ones to reveal it to the public. That's a job for Mayor Bob himself.
Have the intelligence to rig an election by yourself, do you?
You were just Barlow's lackey.
You were Ronnie to his Nancy.
Sonny to his Cher.
Bingo to his rest of the Beatles.
Enough! Lies, lies, lies! I did it!
Rap snitches telling all their business, sit in the court and be their own star witness. With a few jabs aimed at his planet-sized ego, Bob sang like a canary in front of the entire jury, throwing all of his hard work under the bus for a moment of pure theatrics. It's funny how just a small nudge was enough to have him completely crumble when everything was going his way. His cartoonishly idiotic response to the kids was oddly characteristic enough to be believable and entertaining to watch at the same time.
Could have executed such a masterpiece of electoral fraud. And I have the records to prove it. Here, just look at these. Each one a work of Machiavellian art.
In true Sideshow Bob fashion, he sang like a canary the first chance he got. Since he went through the effort of scrapbooking the entire plan so intricately, there was no way Sideshow Bob was about to let anyone else get any recognition for what he did any longer. Especially not after all the years he spent watching Krusty take all the credit for his life's achievements. Whether he goes to jail for fraud or not, his point was made clear. He's a high-class snob who needs validation over anything else in his life. Even while admitting his fraud, the only thing on former Mayor Bob's mind was the need to manipulate the masses into thinking they needed his superior intellect the whole time.
Me, Springfield. Your guilty conscience may force you to vote Democratic, but deep down inside you secretly long for a cold-hearted Republican to lower taxes, brutalize criminals, and rule you like a king. That's why I did this, to protect you from yourselves.
I'd say he better save it for the judge, but he's already in front of him. However, unfortunately for him, Bob's smooth-talking only landed him back in the slammer with yet another reason to try and mess with the Simpsons family once again.
Someday I'll have my vengeance. Someday, when I find my way out of this savage, roach-ridden cesspool.
Gotta love the American legal system. A season later, Bob practically tried to nuke Springfield when he ran away from prison in the episode Sideshow Bob's Last Gleaming. least during that episode, he actually considered Bart worthy enough to kill his longtime rival Krusty along with himself in a surprise kamikaze attack on the stolen Wright brothers plane. That sentence kept going.
Die, Krusty! Die!
This entire episode felt like a badly written fever dream, dude. With 5 entire episodes of content solely dedicated to building stories around Sideshow Bob, the showrunners thought it'd be best to stop throwing stuff at the wall to see what really sticks.
My crusade against television has come to an end so formulaic it could have spewed from the power book of the laziest Hollywood hack.
Instead, they attempted to spin a different angle with him by focusing an entire episode on a character who shares the same goofy traits as Bob does. And in the episode Brother from Another Series, they did exactly that. Once a seemingly reformed Bob was recommended by Reverend Lovejoy to become a part of the prison work release program, he was happily reunited with a familiar face.
Cecil? Is it really you?
Hello, brother. I'm happy to see you.
But it's been 10 years. We haven't spoken since the unpleasantness.
They're both twice as annoying alone as they're together. This inclusion added a whole other dimension to Bob's character, and it showed us a side of Bob we had never seen before. A side where he actually treated someone other than himself somewhat like an equal.
Wonderful. You do know I used to have a problem with trying to kill people.
Goodness, I had no idea. For you see, I have been on Mars for the last decade, in a cave, with my eyes shut and my fingers in my ears.
Touché, Cecil.
The niceties didn't last long, however, when we were later introduced to the history behind Bob's past relationship with his younger brother and the reason behind their decade-spanning beef with each other.
I knew it. You're still angry that Krusty picked me instead of you.
I can't imagine what you mean.
Oh, come now. You wanted to be Krusty's sidekick since you were 5.
What about the buffoon lessons?
The 4 years at Clown College.
I'll thank you not to refer to Princeton that way.
So whether you're from Princeton or Yale, the end result's practically the same. It was a rare glimpse into the life of Robert Underdunk Bob Terwilliger Jr., Ph.D., before he donned the afro and became the Sideshow Bob we all know and love.
I have prepared a pie-in-the-face take.
All right, knock yourself out, kid. Hal?
Ooh.
Free comedy tip, Slick. The pie gag's only funny when the saps got dignity. Like that guy. Hey, Hal, pie job for Lord Autumnbottom there.
Oh, dear.
Comedy truly peaked when people used to get pied in the face. Despite being laughed at and initially despising every second of it, Bob basically stole his brother's dream job just because Krusty called him a comedy genius. It's safe to say Bob definitely earned everything that came after he signed that contract with the Red-Nosed Devil. Even though Bob wasn't up to anything, Bart wasn't going to let his guard down to the maniac walking around Springfield like a free man.
He's planning something evil, I know it. Must have something to do with the town's water supply.
Maybe he's gonna pee in the river.
Nah.
Hawkeye Bob just can't keep to himself, can he? At this point, even Bart's grown to respect Sideshow Bob's unique brand of villainy, which really speaks for how complex their relationship has grown over the years. With Bob handling the construction of the dam while working under his brother, he was too busy to even want to kill Bart this time. They essentially almost traded places at this point.
I can't take much more of this. Rustic workmen who've turned the Sanijon into a smokehouse. Coveralls that don't quite cover all. And a psychotic little boy who will not stop hounding me. This little boy right here.
Oh, how the tables have turned. Even with all the bad blood between them, Bob was actually legitimately concerned for Bart and Lisa's safety for a moment.
You two.
Be careful! There's hydroelectricity in there!
Regardless of the fact that he wanted the dam to eventually collapse and consume all of Springfield whole, he was actually worried for everyone once he figured out he was working on a dud. This was the side of Bob that he had always wanted the world to see, which finally came out after years of spending time behind bars and having his plans foiled by mere kids over and over again. All it took was a reunion with a far eviler, greater, greedier person than himself.
Rise, to be precise.
Cecil?
Once I blow up the dam, there'll be no evidence of missing concrete, and I walk away with 15 million.
But everyone will know you did this.
Perhaps. Or perhaps they'll blame the master criminal. You know, the one who's been working at the dam and has a grudge against Springfield.
This scheme was far too elaborate for someone who always aspired to be a clown. The writing for this episode was absolutely genius. So far, Bob was just a villain committing heinous acts, mostly for rather vain reasons, but now he was a multifaceted individual going through an entire arc. Bob finally felt like a real person with real emotions, teetering on the edge of reform and insanity.
hopeless. Utterly hopeless.
Oh, I see. When it's one of my schemes, you can't foil it fast enough. But when Cecil tries to kill you, it's hopeless. Utterly hopeless. Well, if you kids aren't going to foil him, I'll have to do it myself.
Gotta love a good fourth wall break. With some degree of mutual respect for each other, Bart and Bob decide to trust each other and work together to bring down a greater evil. Bob even goes so far as to save Bart's life before doing something even more unexpected right after.
This is it. Thanks anyway.
You know, I could snip the wires. We'd fall to our deaths, but we'd save the entire town. But how would you like to do something incredibly noble?
Do we have to?
Yes.
Gee, I wonder how he'll get rewarded for this. From a 5-time convicted felon to a hero who saved his worst enemy along with a town he'd always despised for its lowbrow population, Bob went through one frick of a hero's journey, man, only to find himself back at square one all over again, even though he didn't do anything wrong this time. Perhaps this was karma for framing Krusty all those years ago.
Do this! I saved the children's lives! I'm a hero!
Tell them they'll live to regret this.
Oh, thanks a lot. Now I look crazy. You'll live to regret this!
There they go.
Yeah, Bob, throw your brother under the bus. It's not you, it's him. Although, at this point, Bob's story basically had a neat little bow wrapped up around it to, conclude it. In the episode Day of the Jackanapes, Bob was compelled to return to his old ways when something threatened the existence of his hard-earned legacy.
Well, I had a thing for Judge Judy, and frankly, Kent, those episodes were no big loss. The show didn't really get funny until we fired Sideshow Bob and hired Who's Its.
Those are my shows. You've erased my past. Now I'll erase your future.
Well, at least it wasn't season 12 of MacGyver. Knowing how to play the system, Bob saw this as the perfect opportunity to organize his own release in front of a judge and walked out of the prison in style in order to get started on his revenge plot. Returning to form, this is a point in Bob's life where he embraced a side of himself that he had long since abandoned.
What you writing there?
If you must know, it's an exquisite scheme for revenge.
Revenge, eh? Half the guys in here are working on that.
What's the point of going back to his roots if Bob wasn't going to involve Bart Simpson in his plot somehow? Getting a job at the school, Bob begins phase 1 of his secret master plan.
It begins.
Believing Sideshow Bob to be completely harmless at this point, especially after the last time they tangoed, this time Bart was the one to underestimate his rather complicated archenemy.
What are you gonna do to me?
Oh, believe me, I have a plan. Let's see. Have Bart kill Krusty.
Krusty? That's one man I would never kill.
Oh, you will kill Krusty.
I mean, how pathetic do you gotta be to have a third grader stop being afraid of you? Hypnotized into following Bob's commands, Bart gets strung along into Bob's intricate schemes of taking out 2 birds with 1 stone.
Chief, you might want to take a look outside.
That's it! Kill Krusty, just like you'll kill him tomorrow night.
With the plan in motion and Bart prepared to basically explode himself in Krusty's embrace, Bob's emotion-driven vengeance plan came to a grinding halt when something suddenly opened his eyes to what he was almost about to do.
There was a man who used to work for me. A man of grace and humor, but I mistreated him and drove him to a life of crime. So wherever you are, I just want to say, Sideshow Bob, I'm sorry.
Bro, why didn't this episode get nominated for an Emmy? Moved to tears, Bob's heart finally opened up to forgiving Krusty, and he wound up actually sharing a table with the same people he once dreamed about killing mercilessly for more than a decade.
Krusty, I'm so sorry about the attempted murder.
Will you stop with the sorry? Every time you try to kill me, my ratings go through the roof, you nut!
How I Met Your Killer? However, since Bob never really gets a happy ending in the show, the episode ended with him supposedly getting issued a death order by guillotine. And even though he forgave Krusty and shared a table with both him and Bart, Bob still wasn't quite ready to forgive the boy for basically humiliating him every time they met, apparently. Or so it seemed. Since in the episode of The Great Loose Detective, when the arch-enemies meet again, Bob denied taking his chance to finally put an end to the feud, showing that he'd grown rather fond of Bart over the years they'd known each other.
I can't do it.
Why not?
I've grown accustomed to your face.
I'd be fond of Bart too if I had his mouth taped shut.
I hereby swear vendetta!
What followed after was another attempt at completely wiping out the entire family in an elaborate scheme Bob cooked up after smuggling himself back into America in the episode Funeral for a Friend. With the help of his entire family, Bob put the Simpsons on trial and flipped the script on them entirely. Faking his own death, Bob showed how ruining his life and identity a second time was the straw that broke the camel's back. For any last hint of sanity left inside him, and literally his entire family of weirdos.
You have 87 years to get used to it, Father.
Crime family always sticks together, despite the challenges. As if he was the perfect foil to Bart's unruliness, Sideshow Bob continued to stay obsessed with the boy over the years despite his several attempts at trying to change. All of that effort once wasted led Bob to creating even more elaborate plans in order to remain close to the family that continued to ruin his life. That's why in the episode The Bob Next Door, Sideshow Bob decided it was time to keep your friends close and your enemies even closer. With the entire city in debt, this was Bob's best opportunity to make a splash in the Simpsons' local neighborhood.
Bart Simpson, no doubt you read about me in your nuisance neighbor disclosure.
Hello, Bart.
Huh? Say that again.
Hello, Bart. Hello, Bart.
Hello, Bart.
Hello, Bart.
Hello, Bart. Hello, Bart.
Ah! Sideshow Bob!
Side what whom?
Leave it to the Simpsons to have a dude carrying fish look creepy as all hell. Clearly with nothing better to do, Sideshow Bob literally went so far as to create a fake persona and face in order to keep Bart spooked. Not only that, once Bart accepted the idea that he was someone else, Bob knew it was now the perfect time to strike. Like stealing candy from switching places with an innocent cellmate of his, Bob went so far as to disfigure someone else. With serial killer levels of obsession overtaking every single functioning brain cell he had left, Bob went to unspeakable lengths just for the sake of his chance at sweet, sweet revenge.
I began by removing Walt's face. 5-second rule. That was the easy part. The hard part was removing my own face.
Though Bob Detective Comics called they want their Joker storyline back, just one look at Bob's bedroom was enough to leave the Simpsons completely stunned at the sight.
Man, that dude does not like Bart.
I'm surprised no one was shocked at the even uglier furniture. Slowly morphing into a monster, Bob basically went completely bonkers, but not enough to miss out on concocting a foolproof plan to finally put his arch-nemesis finally out of his misery.
Fire a gun in a second state. The bullet will travel through the third, hitting you in the fourth, so you fall dead in the fifth. No single act is against any law.
But their sum total is the greatest murder since Snape killed Dumbledore.
Alas, things never play out the way we planned them to. Unfortunately for Bob, Bart never really fell for a scheme and his intuition ultimately paid off. Like the show's executive producer Al Jean put it, Sideshow Bob was always meant to be the wily coyote to Bart's roadrunner. A smart and intellectual being who always underestimates his prey and finds his elaborate plans fall apart because of it. Channeling that same energy into creating the character allowed The Simpsons to accidentally write one of the most perfect villains ever created in animated history, in my opinion. And if you want another character breakdown like this, the next one's already awaiting. Click the link on screen to watch even more, and as always, guys, thank you very much for watching.